Mind Tech Podcast, episode 31 for October 24th, 2013. Mavericks MeerKat. Mind Tech Podcast, episode 31. I'm Gareth in LA, here with Joe in London. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Gareth. How you doing, man?
Doing great, dude. What a great week it's been. Oh, my God. What a wonderful week for technology it's been this week. What do you think?
I don't know what you're on about.
Oh, it's so awesome, dude. Today,
what, did something happen this week?
Something happened yesterday that brought a big dopey grin to my face. I've been smiling from ear to ear all day.
Yeah, I hear that OS X is now free software. If they're in with Stallman and stuff, yeah?
Yeah, dude, it's free.
Yeah, free as in free? Oh, no. No, it's still horribly proprietary and
but
just
it's free
as in...
It's free. You get all these fucking retards paying $400 for some Windows piece of garbage. And here comes OS X. Free. Boom.
Wasn't it only $20 or something for the last one?
Yeah, it was $20. The last one was $19.95 or something. Yeah. $20 for Mountain. What was it called? I got a brain fart. Mountain Lion.
So now it's Maverick MeerKat.
Mavericks, yeah, Mavericks. Mavericks.
Maverick MeerKat, yeah.
Mavericks.
Ubuntu 11 point whatever.
Mavericks, yeah. So it's 10.9 OS X Mavericks. Free of charge. As of yesterday. I mean, that's kind of a bold move when you think about it. I mean, can you imagine Microsoft saying, and the next version of Microsoft Windows is free?
Yeah, well, the difference being that you can't, at least officially, run it on any other hardware apart from Apple hardware.
Exactly. That's the thing there, yeah.
That's why they've never bothered with serial numbers and copy protection, because it's only going to run properly on a Mac unless you really know what you're doing with Hackintosh stuff. And even then, it's a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. Because it's their own platform. They make their own hardware. They make their own software. It makes sense for it to finally be free. So, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. It makes total sense for it to be free now. Whereas, even $20 a year ago was pretty cool, but now it's even cooler. You get like the latest and greatest OS and not some fucking home professional ultimate fucking bullshit. It's like the one version, that's it.
Just imagine a new version of the operating system being free of charge. Wow, it's such a novelty to me. That.
Well, for a proprietary operating system, that is a novelty.
No, it is for you're right.
It's for a proprietary operating system to be completely free of charge. That's a big deal.
But what kind of idiot would use a proprietary operating system?
I don't know, dude. I don't get it. Why would anyone use a proprietary operating system? It makes no sense to me.
The negative in the freedom dimension. Who would use that?
It's crazy. I mean, why would you use a proprietary operating system when there's so many awesome, cutting-edge applications available for free open source operating systems?
Well, exactly. That's how I feel about it. But I hear some people don't agree with me.
Well, no, I mean, that's exactly. I mean, I have no beef with Linux at all. I think Linux is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I think the operating system, the open source GNU/Linux operating system is probably the greatest operating system available. No question. But the application.
So you think it's better than OS X even?
Well, because it's so free. I mean, it's powerful, it's stable, it's free. You can do anything with it. I mean, it's probably the greatest OS on the planet. The issue is that 99.9% of every application written for it is fucking shit.
Graphical application, maybe. Yeah.
That's the problem.
So anyway, then you've downloaded Mavericks and installed it. What's the story?
It's awesome, dude. I mean, what else do you expect?
Is it really any different?
Do you really expect me to sit here and think, oh, it's fucking crap?
Well, no, I expect you to say, meh, it's the same as the last one.
Well, it is. It's very similar to the last one, actually. It's just they've added a few tweaks and a few features here and there. The Finder has tabs now, and you can.
Now that is the most hilarious thing. The Finder now has tabs in 2013.
Yeah, it has tabs, and I mean,
how long has Nautilus and Thunar had tabs?
Well, in
fact, you can probably install Nautilus and Thunar on OS 10, I would imagine.
Well, you probably could, but considering that the vast majority of people in the solar system has no fucking idea what you just said, I mean, yeah, you probably could. But yeah, you got tabs. What else is in there? You can tag files now or color code files for easy searching. What else do they do?
I swear you could do that in not even OS 9. I swear you could do that.
No, I mean, there was a lot of third-party apps that could do this. I mean,
that's why even in default,
tabbed browsing in the Finder has been around for years, but you'd always go to a third party and download their app and install it, and then boom, you got tabbed browsing. So now Apple has just included that in the software, which is effectively fucked over these third-party software companies, because I mean, who's going to use their products anymore when now it's built into the OS? What else did they do? They put they redesigned Calendar, they redesigned the Notes app, they redesigned. Oh, they added iBooks. iBooks is now a part, so you can actually read your books on your computer, whereas before with iBooks you could purchase books on your computer, but you could only read them on your phone or your iPad. Now you can read them on your computer. If
you want to go blind.
Yeah. What else did they? Oh, Maps. Maps is now built into the OS. It has its own Maps application. I was playing with it yesterday afternoon, and it's pretty fucking awesome, I have to say. It's really cool. It blows the fucking shit out of the web-based Google Maps.
Really?
Oh, it's 1,000,000 times better. I mean, it's its own application on the desktop. It's very, very nice. I was well impressed by that. Very, very. They did a great job implementing that. What else did they do? I'm trying to think what else they did.
Isn't iLife and stuff free as well?
No? Oh yeah. They made all the iLife apps. They updated all the iLife apps. So there's brand new versions of GarageBand, iMovie, and iPhoto. Brand new versions, and they're all free. And they updated their Office suite, the iWork software, Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. Those have been rewritten from the ground up. Brand new applications. Those are not free. Those are $20 each to purchase.
Well, that's a shitload less than Microsoft Office, but is it any good though?
Yeah, it's a great app. They've always been good. I've always liked the iWork applications. They've always.
But are they? What's the compatibility like though? That's the most important thing.
Well, they're completely compatible with Office. So if you create a Word document in Word and then email it to me, I can open it in Pages, no problem.
What, DocX and everything?
Yeah, the works, everything.
All right.
So yeah, those are brand new applications that they've released that you have to purchase. Those are not upgradable. Those are they're $19.99 each for each one. So it's kind of cool that they're split up because if you're just going to be creating documents and you're not a spreadsheet guy, well then just buy Pages. You don't have to buy you don't have to buy the whole package. Whereas I'm not sure, but I think that with Microsoft Office, you just buy Office and you get everything, whether you need it or not.
Yeah. Or you could just get LibreOffice for free.
Oh, you could do that, yeah. Yeah, you could get that.
Or OpenOffice even.
Right.
Have you tried LibreOffice ever?
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
It was all right. I mean, a little clunky, a little old-fashioned, but it was okay. I mean, if you're just going to write text, it's fine, I guess.
Because I do it I use it for my invoicing.
Yeah.
And something didn't show up in it. Something quite key didn't show up on. Someone emailed me like the bank details aren't there. And I said it's right at the bottom. Scroll down. He said no, it's not there. And so I had to send him it separately.
Oh, because what he was opening it up in Excel.
Fuck knows what he was opening it up in. Presumably Windows.
Yeah.
Presumably
Microsoft Excel.
Microsoft Office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, it was just a Word doc.
Oh, it was a Word document. Okay.
Yeah, just a very simple very simple doc, and apparently some of it didn't show up. And I've had problems with AbiWord not showing up. I don't know. It's just the whole Office Suite thing is just really annoying to me.
Yeah.
If it's basic text, then people should just send text files, man. Why does it have to be all formatted and shit?
Well, because businesses overwhelmingly use Microsoft products and use Office. It's so ingrained that that's just the way it is, unfortunately. And open source applications, even though they're like maybe 95% compatible as far as documents, there's always those little formatting things that are going to screw things up every once in a while.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it just annoys me, all the different versions of the different programs.
Well, it's Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft went from Doc to DocX, and all each version is not compatible with the next. In other words, if I'm running Word 2000, and it was
2003.
Say I'm running Word 2003, and it works fine. I can do everything I need to do on it, and then you're running Word 2012 or whatever, and you send me a document. I'm fucked.
Not so. They were forced. I don't know if it's an EU thing or whatever, but they were forced to release a compatibility pack, which is only about 45, 50 megabytes. And you install that, and then suddenly you can
open them.
Yeah, you can read and write docx,
right,
and all the X.
With my Word 2003, everything I write, I can send to you, and you can open, and everything's fine. But the reverse isn't true, and this is not done because of some amazing technological improvement in Word 2012. It's done purely for financial reasons, so that it's forcing people to upgrade.
Yeah, well, except that they were forced, at least on the Windows version. I don't know about on the Mac version, But yeah, if you've got 2003, then it's called the compatibility pack or something.
Yeah, unplug that to get. Yeah, it's crazy. So it is what it is, I guess. But considering the price of Office, iWork is a great deal. It's a really cool package that's significantly cheaper. There's no serial keys or none of that fucking nonsense. You just, it just works. Download it.
So you can install it on all your machines?
Yeah, I just download it and put it on as many Macs as I want.
And so what? Any other exciting new features then?
I'm sure there are. I mean, if you go to the website, I guess they'll tell you all of the millions of features that they've added to it. But I just installed it yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening rather, and the most prevalent ones are the ones that I've mentioned. I'm sure there's many other things, maybe under the hood improvements and the like. That
new version of Safari then?
Oh yeah, they bumped it up to Safari 7, which is very nice. When you open it up, it gives you like a graphical representation of all your favorite sites that you can fly through and scroll through and click on and edit right there in the page. And it's quite beautiful, actually. The way it's done it's very, very nice. So I'm using Safari right now. Google Chrome is kind of taking the back seat. It's always like playing a kind of catch up. Like Google Chrome will be awesome, and Safari will be like, and then Safari will come up with a new version and make Chrome look all old fashioned, and then Chrome will come and it's always back and forth, back and forth. So right now Chrome is kind of retro. It's kind of dated.
You think that's retro?
But
Firefox for life.
But that'll change. I mean, I know that Google will, over the next probably couple of months or whatever, will release a new version of Chrome, which will put Safari to shame, and vice versa. Even though the core of Chrome is basically Safari, it's running WebKit.
Well, no, it's not. That's not fair to say. It's not fair to say that the core of Chrome is Safari.
Why not?
The two cores are the same. That doesn't mean that the core of Chrome is the same as the core of Safari, but that's
what I said.
It's not. You can't say that it's based on Safari. It's based on WebKit, which
right.
They are both based on.
Right. But where did WebKit come from?
Well, whatever.
See, Apple does open source some stuff.
Yeah, some things, but not too much.
They open sourced Darwin, which is the their version of BSD.
Didn't they have? Oh no, I suppose with the BSD license they could have made it proprietary.
So what they did was they took OpenBSD and FreeBSD, the two main, I guess, versions of BSD, and this was back in the late 90s, and they kind of combined those two versions, and then added some of their own stuff, which in turn created a third kind of BSD clone, and they called that Darwin, and that was released. And I think you can still get it now, and it's still updated. Like with I guess with Mavericks, there's a new version of Darwin that would be available.
And that's just the kernel of it, then.
Right. That's just the kind of command line thing. And then they took that. With that, they added their own proprietary GUI on top of that, and that became OS 10. So. Yeah. So they do release some open source stuff that they create.
Yeah.
Out into
speaking of companies who release some open source stuff but are steadily making themselves more and more proprietary, I tried out Ubuntu Touch this week.
Oh, really?
On one of my multitude of Nexus 7.
You still have you gotten rid of any yet?
Oh man, I got an offer.
Yeah.
And I was greedy, and I said to him, let me hang on till the weekend. See if I get any better offers.
How much?
And 110. Even though I only paid 90 for it, and I was like, no, I can get more for it.
Oh, should have sold it.
I know. And so then I emailed him back, and he just didn't reply. But then again, that's through Gumtree, and their mail system is so shit that sometimes they're not delivered. But I don't want to seem desperate, but at the same time I want rid of it. So
yeah, you should, if you get a good, you should just jump on. You should have jumped on that, dude.
Yeah.
I'll give you 110. Deal. Meet
well, he wanted to give me 100 for it, so I was like,
that's good too.
And he said, right. Yeah, well, I know it's more than I paid for it, but I'm just too greedy, I think. No, I'll hopefully he's still interested, but if not, I'm sure I can get that for it, because the 90 that I paid for it was massively undervalued, I think.
Yeah.
I think that it's worth even the 16 gig.
Well, you look at this, even if you just get the 90, dude, you're winning.
Yeah, well, at least I'm, yeah. I wouldn't say I'm winning, but I haven't lost anything.
You're not losing anything, right? You're getting your money back. Ubuntu Touch. Now, didn't they come up with a new version of Ubuntu this week, too?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it must have been in the last week. I haven't checked it out, to be honest. I'm not really interested. I briefly checked out Ubuntu, and it's just more of the same. As you would expect with Ubuntu, there's never any huge changes.
Right.
I checked it out briefly. I'll check it out more thoroughly later. But yeah, I'm not really that interested in the main branch of Ubuntu with Unity.
Yeah, it's Ubuntu 3.10.
13.10, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 13.10. That came out this week also.
Yeah, I was pretty dumb for many years. I didn't get what their numbering system was all about, and then it just dawned on me one day.
What is it? Explain.
Okay, 13.04 came out in April this year, and 13.10 just came out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it just dawned on me one day. Oh, right, it's the year and the month.
Oh, right, okay.
That's why it's 04 and 10.
That's kind of
I thought that I've been meaning to check out this Ubuntu Touch anyway. And so I followed the instructions. It's quite straightforward, really. You install some stuff in Ubuntu. Well, in my case, Ubuntu. Plug it in. Type, admittedly, quite a few commands. It takes about, I don't know, it takes about half an hour, 40 minutes maybe of pissing about. And then it boots. And then it's fucking unusable.
So you install this on one of your Nexus devices, right?
Yeah, on a 2012 Nexus 7, one of the officially supported devices.
Now, did this erase 4.3 of Android and replace it, or did you?
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, when part of copying it on there, flashing it on there, is you have to unlock the bootloader. And that erases all of your user data. And then when you flash the Ubuntu image on there, it just completely replaces the Android image. Thankfully, Google allows you to download complete images for the various devices that they have.
So it's easy to go back. You can go back, no problem.
Yeah, although I did download the wrong image, the one for the 3G model, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, fuck, I've bricked it. Fuck, what's going on? And then, oh, right, okay, I need to get the right one. And then when I got the right one, it was really easy. It only took about 5 minutes.
To go back.
Yeah.
So the fact that you went back tells me that Ubuntu Touch is not ready for prime time.
Prime time? It's not ready for bloody 3 a.m. on cable. It's shit, mate. It's just a complete disaster. You turn it on, and then it's really slow and laggy, and nothing works properly, and the screen just decides to turn itself off randomly, and it reboots randomly. And I just cannot understand that this is supposed to be one of their officially supported devices. I downloaded the stable release as well, not some cutting edge thing. This is what they consider to be a working version. And I mean, they do say that it's not ready for production, and you're not supposed to be using it every day, and it's just for testing and developers or whatever. But considering they did that big Kickstarter, or was it Indiegogo, and they wanted what 22 million or some ridiculous
$40
figure.
million dollars or some shit.
Yeah, and this is the OS they wanted to ship on that device. Well, if they do another Kickstarter, and anyone listening to this pledges any money to it, then you are a fucking idiot. It's as simple as that.
I don't understand why, because why would you release such a substandard piece of garbage? I mean, it's going to give people a really nasty negative impression of your product. I mean, if they'd released this and people would have installed it and thought, fuck me, this is amazing. Imagine what would have happened. But instead,
well, it's supposed to be for developers and stuff.
It doesn't matter, though, dude. I mean, if people are curious, they're going to install it, and if it's going to be a negative experience, people are not going to. Even when they do fix those issues, people are going to be like, I don't know.
Well, I'll never touch it again, or only for testing purposes. Even if an amazing sounding Ubuntu phone came out and it had 8 gigs of RAM and a 16-core processor and 128 gigs of storage and had all this, I wouldn't be interested. And I'd check it out, definitely. If someone had one or if it was in a shop, I'd go and check it out. But I bought my Nexus 4 having read reviews and only seeing it online. I bought it without ever touching it, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Same with my Nexus 7 and the Nexus 7 before it. But there's no fucking way that I would buy an Ubuntu Touch device, unless I knew that there was an Android image for it. If it was, say, they on their site they had a KitKat, a 4.4 or 4.3, whatever.
So if you didn't like it, you could go back or change it to whatever you wanted to.
But like this, they say it's the developer preview and whatever. But come on, if this is the best they can do right now, then they are. I mean, remember your daughter had that shitty old Android phone, and you were just like tearing your hair out at how shit Android was, and that was 2.1 or 2.2 or something.
Right.
Well, Ubuntu Touch makes that old version of Android look like iOS 7 or Android 4.4. It just is. It's unbelieved bad. They've got about 10 years of development to do to make it good.
Did anything work? Was there anything on there that you did that did what it was supposed to do?
No.
Nothing.
I opened the web browser and it almost worked, and then the thing fucking rebooted.
Sheesh.
That's not good. It's just more fuel on the fire of my Ubuntu hate, really. Which is it's almost an ironic hate that I'm sitting here using Ubuntu, and as we talked about before, the core of Ubuntu is really good because it's pretty much Debian with knobs on,
right?
But all the stuff that they have ever developed themselves at Canonical has been shit. Basically, they've taken Debian and polished it up a bit, added some drivers, etc. And before they were using GNOME, which was based on other people's hard work. And then they decided, oh no, we don't like GNOME 3, so we're going to make Unity, which is even worse than GNOME 3.
Yeah.
And now they're making this Ubuntu Touch thing. It's just, I don't know what Shuttleworth's playing at, man. He fancies himself as Steve Jobs, but he's just a very, very poor man, Steve Jobs. And that's
big
not something
time. I mean,
want to do.
Jobs delivered. This guy's delivering fucking garbage.
Well, yeah, I mean, say what you want about Apple, and I am not a big fan of them. And they think their shit is ridiculously overpriced, but it mostly does what it's supposed to do. You could argue what it's supposed to do is very locked down and proprietary and not free and doesn't let you have many options and customization. But what it is supposed to do, it does well. Whereas Ubuntu, it does not do what it's supposed to do, and I'm just completely dismayed by it. I went into this thinking, oh wow, I'm looking to sell this Nexus 7. Like, wow, if Ubuntu is really good on it, then either I could sell it as an Ubuntu tablet and make loads of money because like no one's got one, or I could talk my girlfriend into letting me keep it, and wow, I've got an Ubuntu tablet and an Android tablet.
Yeah, they should never release this to the public until it was good, you know. And it doesn't have to be awesome, but just good. Because when people start using this stuff, though, you want them to have a good experience. Because if they have a good experience, they're going to tell the world. If they have a shit experience, I mean, come on, it's got to be. They should have kept this under the wraps until it was ready. They shouldn't have released this.
The problem is, though, they're supposed to be a community open source project, and you can't just do the Google throw it over the wall method. Otherwise, you piss people off. So, what were they supposed? Are you saying that they should have just developed it all in house, done their own bug testing, and just kept it all internal within Canonical and made people sign non-disclosures and all the rest of it?
If that means that when it's released, it's an awesome product, yes.
Well, I suppose I'm inclined to agree, as long as ultimately they make it open source, free software.
Right. I mean, they could keep it all behind closed doors, release nothing, get it to a point where it's like, fuck me, this is awesome, and then release it along with the source code.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what Google do.
All right, and then you got nothing to say. I mean, they're going to release great stuff. People will get it, they'll install it, or they'll buy their own product, and they'll be like, fuck me, this is awesome. These guys are great. But now, it's going to be another one of you, dude. Someone's going to download it, install it, and be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Mm. Well, it's like announcing things before they're ready, before they're even close to being ready. Saying they announced Ubuntu Phone seemingly a couple of years ago, and still it's not ready, nowhere near ready.
Because they're trying to get the cash to do it. Whereas if they were smart and they'd do it all behind closed doors, they'd get it to a point where it's awesome, then release it, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest."
Yeah, but that costs money, doesn't it? So they need to drum up that money, and Shuttleworth can't keep pouring his money down a black hole, can he?
So it's a gamble. I mean, it might pay off, but it might not.
Well, it's not going to pay off. And this whole Ubuntu Touch thing, based on my experience of it, and even, obviously I got to see what it was like in the flesh, as it were.
Yeah.
And obviously you could say, oh, well, it was just a buggy this or whatever. But even the overall idea of it reminded me of what I've at least heard about the BlackBerry Playbook, where everything is gesture-based, and you've either got to swipe down or swipe from the right or from the left or from up, and there are no on-screen buttons. Like with Android, you constantly have 3 buttons.
Yeah, but see, what you're describing now, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, I mean, new stuff and new ways of doing things, I have zero issues with that. I mean, you can't say, well, it doesn't have this button. Well, maybe that's just because you're used to that button.
When you're trying to do something, you need at least one home button. Like with an iPhone or an iPad, you have one home button, right? So if all else fails, if the app is just shit, you can always just one button and you're back to the home. Right? You need at least one button.
I don't know. I mean, I think that even though the iPhone and the iPad has that home button, I think eventually it'll go away.
And what I don't understand is, from my brief dealings with Apple products, they don't have a back button, do they?
No.
How can you do shit without a back button? I use it constantly.
Well, you only use it because it's there.
But I don't understand how you can navigate through applications without a back button.
Easily and intuitively and smoothly.
Well, that then becomes down to the developer of the individual application.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But you don't have that operating system fail-safe of, okay, someone has designed a shit app. You do have that on iOS and on Android. You have that home button.
Well, you can get out of it. If you're in an application, you can close the application. You can get out. If you launch an application and you know like I have a weather app on my phone which gives like crazy detailed weather stats, right? Yeah. So I launch it, I look at it, and then I close it. I don't want that thing on all the time because
how do you close it though?
I hit the home button at the bottom and it closes.
Well, exactly. Whereas in Ubuntu there is no home button. You cannot just close something. You can't just get back to home.
There's got to be a way to close it. All right, it doesn't have a home button, but there's got to be a way to close an application that's running. There might just be another way to do it.
Well, it's supposedly one of the swipe gestures, but if the thing is frozen, well, I suppose if an iPhone had frozen, then or an Android phone had frozen, then yeah. I don't know, man. It feels like a pre-alpha release.
So let me ask you this, okay? Let's just imagine that you downloaded that Ubuntu Touch, you installed it, and everything looks exactly as it did, but everything worked the way it was supposed to. You know, when you clicked on this, it worked. When you went on the browser, it worked. When you played a video, it worked. Everything worked. What would you think of it?
It's so difficult to say because I couldn't even get a chance to look at it properly because I was just
frustrated.
Well, yeah, frustrated and worried that it was going to brick my tablet and I couldn't sell it. Because it just suddenly the screen would go blank and then I press the power button, nothing. And then I'm having to do a hard reset on it. I'm thinking, shit, has it bricked it? Fuck.
That sucks.
Yeah, it just, I've had some bad experiences with things lately. Since we just started doing this show and since I was doing Mintcast and all the rest of it, I've been checking out a lot more stuff than usual just for the sake of it.
Right.
And I've had some bad experiences with shit. But Jesus Christ, Ubuntu Touch on a Nexus 7 is the worst technological experience I've had for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good.
Put that on your site, Canonical.
Yes. The worst,
Joe Ressington,
the worst technology experience I've had ever. You know, the quotes, then at the bottom, Joe Ressington. That'd be awesome. You know, we should. Someone should hack their site and put that on there.
Yeah, just add that a little bit. Yeah. Don't change anything else. Yeah.
Joe Ressington says it was the worst technological experience I've ever had.
It reminds me of my friend bought a DVD from when the Chinese people come around. You want DVD? You want DVD? and like some girl that he was trying to shag or something wanted a rom-com, and on the back of it they'd taken actual quotes from critics, but it was like instead of 5-star, a great movie, laugh out loud, whatever, it was bitter disappointment and one of the worst films I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Have you seen sometimes they do that though, where they mix and match the cover? Like they'll have like Star Trek Into Darkness, and they'll have like Captain Kirk standing next to Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader on the cover.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I've seen those because they don't know. They think, space movie, put spaceman. They'll just grab any clip art or something from any space movie and stick it on the fucking cover.
Well, as I frequently like to tweet every now and again, my favourite Star Wars character is Dr. Spock.
Dr. Spock. Oh, that's a great one. They used to drive me when I was a kid, and you say, I started as Dr. Spock. It'd drive me fucking mental when they used to say that. It's Mr. Spock.
But you know what's weird, right? He's the science officer, right?
Yeah.
So clearly he's got a PhD. There's no way they'd let him be the science officer on a major ship like the Enterprise without a PhD. Therefore, he probably should be Dr. Spock.
Well, maybe there's no PhDs in the future. Maybe it's something else.
Maybe you don't need that.
Yeah.
There's, everyone's equal. But then again, Bones is a doctor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a medical doctor. That's different. I'm a doctor.
It's pretty much...
Yeah, I'm
a doctor, not a bricklayer. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly the discussion we had, me and my girlfriend, about this.
Yeah, he's different. He's a different kind of doctor. McCoy, Leonard H., son of David.
Did I mention I finally watched Into Darkness?
Yeah, what do you think? Kind of crap, huh?
Shit.
Yeah, wasn't that great? You should watch that Star Trek Continues, that fan-made thing, dude. That's fucking
I watched
awesome.
a bit of it, but my girlfriend wasn't into it.
Oh, it's so great.
That was it.
You know what, that fan-made, and we're getting a little down a rat hole here a little bit, but still, it's still awesome. The Star Trek Continues, it's the most authentic fan-made effort. Then, because they had the Phase 2 and everything, and Phase 2 is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not completely authentic, whereas Star Trek Continues, they're really focusing on making it as exactly like the old TV show as humanly possible, which I really
it is good.
I really like that. Some of the characters are a little off. Like the guy who plays McCoy is like, dude, that guy needs to be fired immediately. He's not McCoy, not even fucking close. The dude who plays Kirk, the Vic, whatever the fuck his name is awesome. That guy nails it. And Scotty, of course, is Jimmy Doohan's son. And he's like exactly like his dad, like to a T. It's perfect.
Why didn't they get him in the movies rather than fucking Shaun of the Dead, man?
Oh, they should have, dude. Simon Pegg is so crap with Scotty, it's not even funny.
I don't like Simon Pegg. It's quite controversial.
I can't do it. It's like, shut the fuck up. You can't even do the accent. Get out of here. It's shit.
You've got to do that sort of half American, half Scottish, and he's doing just English.
He's trying to do
Scottish.
the whole real thing. Yeah, I don't know. Simon Pegg is weird. Ever since he started wearing the wig, something's up with him. You know what I mean? Like 2 movies ago, the guy's fucking got one hair in his head. Now he's got a fucking mop top. What's up with that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on. Who you fooling?
Good point.
All right, anyway, let's get back on task here. So, so joining us now, the score so far, OS X Mavericks, 1. Ubuntu Touch, 0.
Yeah, more like Ubuntu Touch, abandoned, rained off.
rained off. And now
complete disaster. Just steer clear.
Yeah,
I would say
pretty bad. All right,
beware of. Remember me saying this if and when they do finally get a phone to market, and it seems cheap, it seems good. Fucking avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, I got the old Ubuntu Touch. It was only at $5 at that market.
I could put it on my Nexus 4, maybe. But that is my main phone. That's my phone. I use it every day.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, dude.
Maybe at Christmas when I don't need my phone and I have my landline and I'm not leaving the house anyway because I'm just sitting and drinking in my own film.
Yeah, you're going to be shit-faced, right? You're going to be completely fucking lit. And you're going to be like, I'm going to put Ubuntu on my phone. I don't care. I'm going to do it. And you're going to just brick your phone. And then you're going to wake up the next day with a big fucking hangover, a massive fucking headache, and you're going to be hating life because your phone is fucked.
If Ubuntu bricks my phone, then I'm going to go and have serious words with Shuttleworth. I'm going to get on the ferry to the Isle of Man and have a fucking word with him, man.
Oi! Shuttleworth! Oi!
Sort my fucking phone out, you
Sort it! Sort it now!
Pretty much.
You're making that fucking word, sunshine! Shuttleworth's going to be like, now listen, I've done nothing wrong with your phone. It should be working fine.
He's going to do a jobs and say you're holding it wrong.
You're holding the phone wrong. You got to hold it like this.
You got to hold it like this as well.
Yes, you got to hold it like this with your second finger pushing up in the back. All right. Anyway, so there you go. That's what's going to happen with Joe and Shuttleworth. How about a break, Joe?
Yeah, go on.
Mindset Daily.
Mindset Daily, hosted by Joe Dunn, a twice weekly and sometimes daily wrap-up on the current news of the strange. Every episode will highlight and comment on news stories that have either not made it into the mainstream or just grabbed our attention. Mindset Daily, your bite-sized alternate news fix. You can listen to Mindset Daily at mindsetcentral.com.
Mindset Daily. You're listening to the Mindset Network. You can now hear all of the Mindset Central podcasts while on the go with the Stitcher Smart Radio app. On-demand news, talk, and more on your mobile phone. The latest episodes at Mindset Central are always available for you. No syncing needed and no memory or storage wasted. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android phones, and beyond. Downloading is easy. Go to Stitcher.com or check out your app store. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to MindsetCentral.com.
And we're back. And here comes the Mind Tech News. What we got up here news-wise, Joe?
So yeah, the first one, BitTorrent search site IsoHunt will shut down.
Have you ever
pay MPAA $110 million.
This is unbelievable, dude. I still cannot get my head around, they've gone after Pirate Bay. IsoHunt is being shut down in order to pay ridiculous sums of money. And all these sites are doing are aggregating text files.
Yeah.
They're not hosting nothing. They have zero illegal content on their servers. Nothing.
I know it's ridiculous. They're not. They one, they shut down Google. Well, we've had this discussion before. I mean, every time they go after these relatively small sites, it comes back to the same thing, that they're not actually hosting anything. It's not like Mega Upload where we said,
right.
Well, fair enough, they were actually hosting illegal shit. This is just links to, effectively.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. And now they're ordered to pay $110 million. Now, that's not just some chump change. That's a significant amount of money. Now, the company here says the company founded by Canadian Greg Funn has also accepted a judgment that it must pay the movie studios $110 million. It's not clear how much of that the studios will actually be able to collect. According to a chunk of the court transcript cited by TechDirt, the movie studio's lawyers estimated that Funn and his company only has $2 million to $2 to $4 million, $5 million at the most, they could possibly pay. I just don't understand how this can even happen. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, if you follow this kind of logical, rational path, then the movie companies should be suing the shit out of Google.
Well, they've tried, I think, but the bottom line is Google's got a really strong legal team, whereas these guys are just some dudes.
Yeah, it's very sad. I don't get it. But then again, when is ever the legal world or life in general fair? It's always fucked up. It's always the rich guy will win. It's crazy. Yeah. Now, in the UK, these sites are still banned, right? Like IsoHunt and Pirate Bay.
I'm not sure if IsoHunt was. I don't think it was. But at the moment, it's because it was due to shut down in a day or two, but he shut it down early because there was a team of guys that were trying to archive all of the torrents and just the whole site, but he announced that he was shutting it down a little bit early, and so he pulled the servers offline before they got a chance to archive the whole thing. And he just said, "Oh well, most of the torrents are on other sites anyway," and whereas people are starting to say, "Well, that's a little bit dubious. Why did he do that?
Yeah,
was he pressured to take it down early because of this? People were archiving it because it's not just about the torrent files; it's about the comments and everything."
Right, yeah.
Because the comments are quite valuable in terms of the quality of stuff and if things are bogus. I read a pretty hilarious story on Torrent Freak, which let me just find it quickly. It was about you know how back in the day on LimeWire they used to put up dodgy versions of stuff, like you'd be looking for a song or a movie and it would be they'd put up just like a fake version of it. The studio would put up a fake version of it to piss people off.
Right.
This dude called Johan Chaos. I think he's from Norway. It's some stupid like comedy movie, Norwegian comedy movie, and he put it on torrent sites with the first sort of 10-15 minutes are just a perfect quality version of the movie, but then it cuts to him filming on his iPhone. And he just films his balls for 2 hours.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine? Like you sit down and I'm really enjoying it, and then he's filming his balls.
Yeah, you'd be a little upset to say the least.
No, but he just did that to troll people for a laugh.
Yeah.
So he.
Well, they used to do stuff like that too, and I'm sure they still do in some cases. Where like on LimeWire, they'd upload a file that would be, I don't know, a movie or an album, and you download it and install it, and it would be a virus.
Yeah, they've tried all sorts of stuff. A self-extracting zip that's really an exe file or whatever.
Yeah, and it would install all kinds of nonsense on your computer. And all that stuff was, I guess, designed on purpose to put people off, doing this kind of thing. And I guess with things like LimeWire, it actually worked. I mean, I stopped using LimeWire a long, long time ago.
I stopped using LimeWire when I searched for a song or something, and it came up with loads of bloody child porn.
Just nonsense, yeah.
And I was just like, that's it. I uninstalled it and never, ever used it again.
Whereas with BitTorrent, you at least get the comments, where people will download it, and if it's garbage, they'll tell you, don't download.
They'll say, no, this is 10 minutes of a movie, and then it's 2 hours of the dude's balls. Don't download.
Right, exactly.
Whereas all that's been deleted now, never to be seen again from IsoHunt. And IsoHunt was one of the big ones. Obviously, Pirate Bay is the biggest.
Yeah, but
IsoHunt, among others, are almost equally as big.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know. They keep battling the torrent sites, but as we've said many times before, the only way you're going to make a significant dent in piracy is to make your stuff freely available and in high quality at a reasonable price.
Yeah, which is kind of what the iTunes model did, making it 99 cents or 79 cents or p for a song.
Right.
It just makes it, it's not even worth bothering trying to pirate it if it's that cheap.
Yeah, or the Netflix model too is another way.
Yeah, exactly. That if you can watch all of Breaking Bad or all of Walking Dead or whatever it is that you want to watch,
then why are you going to why are you going to steal it if you can just stream it? That's the only way to defeat this stuff. If you keep holding back, charging crazy prices, ridiculous amounts of money for movies, and then people are going to pirate. That's all there is to it, and there's nothing else you can do.
Another complete rat hole. Then, have you been watching the last couple of Walking Deads, this new series?
Yeah, I'm up to date. I watched. I've watched them all.
What's the verdict? First
episode, I wasn't impressed. Second one, I can see it's going to get better.
That, to me, sums up the whole experience of watching The Walking Dead. It's like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. You're watching it thinking, it's all right. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it fucking never does.
So are you going to not watch it no more?
I don't know, man. It's very rare that I'll stop watching something, so we'll see. I stopped watching Boardwalk Empire. I got bored with that.
Yeah, I never started watching that.
I'm on the verge, put it that way, of giving up on Walking Dead.
Yeah, actually, The Walking Dead is the only show right now that I watch.
All right. You've got to watch Breaking Bad, I'm telling you.
Yeah, everyone keeps telling me you got to watch it, and it's all on Netflix. So
it's on Netflix, right? So just watch it.
Yeah, let's just
start again and watch it, and at least you know that it's all finished now, and you can watch it.
But it's very freeing not to have shows to watch.
Yeah,
not having I got to see the new episode. Oh, I got to watch. If you don't have that in your head, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like on a Monday I come home and it's like, I've got to watch. I've got to watch Breaking Bad, or I've got to watch Walking Dead. Whereas if I do finally get sick of Walking Dead, then it frees up my Monday evening.
Yeah, so it's good not to watch, because you got to figure 90% of the shows are shit, just garbage crap, and you might get sucked into one of them, and you're like, ugh. I started watching that. Was that Revolution? Have you seen that thing?
No, what's that?
Like all the power goes out in the world, and no electronics work.
All right.
So they all have to try and survive without electronics. And I thought, the premise is good. This might be a good show. And I kept watching it thinking, like you just said about The Walking Dead, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it never fucking did. So I just bailed.
Sometimes you have to say life's too short. Like with watching a movie, I used to always watch all movies all the way through. But then I decided one day, no, if it's shit, I'm not going to... I'll give it sort of 45 minutes, and then just if it's shit, I'm giving up.
Yeah, just bail. Speaking of bailing, Windows 8.1 came out, officially came out, was it last week? And I know we did a show a while ago where you installed the pre-release of it, the beta version of 8.1. And now it's...
Well, it was actually a leaked version that wasn't even official.
Yeah.
But then I did check out an official one, and it was no better.
So the final, full, legitimate version of Windows 8.1 is now available as a free update to current Windows 8 users. And if you go to purchase Windows 8, you're going to get Windows 8.1. This is kind of like putting lipstick on a pig in many ways. It's still a fucking pig. It's still shit. It's still a massive fucking train wreck. It's kind of on the kind of borderline of starting to make Vista look good. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about that.
Because Vista was pretty fucking bad, but compared to this, it's a little bit like the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Now, when I saw The Phantom Menace when it came out, I remember walking out of the movie theater thinking, that was absolute fucking garbage. I can't believe I waited all these years for a new Star Wars movie, and it's that shit. But maybe Attack of the Clones will be better. So we fast forward 2 fucking years later, Attack of the Clones come out, I go see Attack of the Clones, and I walk out of the movie theater thinking, fuck me. This compared to Phantom Menace, the Phantom Menace is a fucking masterpiece.
Me so disappointed. Funnily enough, I watched a bit of the Phantom Menace the other day when I was at that wedding in my hotel room. I got there a bit early, and I flicked through 100 channels of TV, and flicked back to Phantom Menace and thought, well, okay, Phantom Menace it is then. That's how bad TV is.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, compared to Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace is a fucking masterpiece. Because Attack of the Clones is, I'm sorry, it's unwatchable.
I can't.
It's unwatchable. It's horrible. Horrible.
I had that on video, I think, and oh man, I used to only have a few videos, that, Fight Club and Fear and Loathing, and so I pretty much watched the 3 of those constantly on rotation. This was before I got internet and stuff. So I think it was Attack of the Clones anyway. Now, but back to the point then. So Windows 8.1.
Yeah.
Have you read reviews of it and stuff?
Well, it's like a lot of the reviews are like, it's crap, but if you like this crap, this upgrade you'll probably like it. Does that make any sense? Do you know what I mean?
That does make perfect sense. Yeah, if you didn't despise Windows 8 and think that everyone involved should be fired, then this is a little bit better. So you probably cream your pants.
Yeah, you'll if you thought Windows 8 was good, you'll really like this update. If you thought it was shit, it's still going to be shit.
I would love to hear from someone who genuinely thinks it's good, who isn't trolling.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to find someone like that, though, dude.
Yeah, because if someone could easily tell me that Windows 7 is good,
right.
And I think that if you depend on certain applications
sure.
you have to use Windows, then Windows 7 is reasonable for.
I would agree. I would agree.
If of the current, if it's a choice between Windows 7 and Windows 8 or Windows 8.1, then clearly Windows 7 is going to be the winner.
Yeah, I would agree completely. So what does Windows 8.1 give you that Windows 8 didn't? Well, it gives you the start button is the main thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't, because the start button doesn't give you a start menu. It just fucking goes to the start screen. That's the touchscreen bullshit.
See, what they need to do here, they need to separate these things, right? You need to, the tile thing, still have that, but have the regular standard desktop with a start button and the start menu and all that shit. And then maybe if you navigate through to accessories, then there'll be a button that'll say Windows Tiles or something, and you click that, and then suddenly there's the tiles fucking around all over.
Yeah,
the
or
place.
even when you first turn the machine on or first install it, it'd give you an option.
Yeah, do you want classic or do you want tiles? Or you go
works or bullshit.
You go to control panel and choose. Well, I want my computer to work like, the old days or like this. If they give you that much choice, well, then we might have a different opinion. But because you have zero choice and you're going to get these fucking flashcards popping up on the screen every 3 seconds, annoying the piss out of you, then it's garbage, dude. It's a fucking train wreck. And they know this at Microsoft. They're not that fucking deluded. They know they got a piece of shit in their hands. They know it.
Yeah, well, it boils down to the difference between apps and programs, which in Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 you still have. You have apps, which are bullshit system, full screen, tile interface, Metro, or whatever you want to call it, apps. And then you have the old school programs like Firefox, VLC, Photoshop, etc.
Right. Yeah.
And they just need to they need to realize that there are different types of computing. There's desktop computing and then there's mobile computing.
Right.
And you can't converge the two of them. They are two different experiences.
Exactly.
And it's the same with Ubuntu and just generally this trend towards trying to converge everything into one thing, and it just doesn't work. On my 5-inch phone, my 7-inch tablet, my 15-inch laptop, and my 27-inch monitor, I don't want the same experience.
Right. I agree. And that's where they got it wrong before. Remember back in the day when Microsoft was really pushing for tablets, and they had a bunch of tablets, but the tablets were all running Windows XP. Right?
Yeah, that's when they needed something like Windows 8.
Exactly.
Although Windows 8 RT, which is the ARM-based tablets, that's been a disaster for them as well, because I think that they're trying to make the tablets too desktop-y. They're trying to keep that desktop.
If they had kept them distinct, right? So in other words, if you have a laptop or a desktop, the latest operating system from Microsoft is going to look and act exactly or very similar to Windows 7. Whereas if you buy a Microsoft tablet, it's going to look or act very similar to Windows 8. If they'd done that and keep those two things distinct and separate, I think things would be very, very different for Microsoft right now.
Certainly for Windows, yeah. I mean, we'll see about this new Xbox. I think that is likely to make them a lot of money and keep it going. And obviously, the enterprise stuff is going to keep them going. But consumer-wise, I'd like to think that it's going to push people towards Linux, and you would probably like to think it'll push people towards Macs. But the reality is it's going to push people towards Windows 7. Like, for example, a friend of mine has got a home office, and she has got an ancient Pentium 4 machine, and she said to me, it's getting a bit long in the tooth. what new machine should I get? So I looked, and for a Windows 8 machine, you could get something really cheap. And there were very few Windows 7 machines. So I said to her, well, look, it's probably going to work out better if you just buy this cheap Windows 8 machine and then spend another 70 quid on a Windows 7 disk and license and just go for that. And so she said, yeah, all right then. And so that's what we've done. And so now I'm going to have to install Windows 7 on it for her.
Right.
And that is the reality. Windows 8 and 8.1 isn't pushing people away from Windows. It's pushing them back to Windows 7.
You know that you've got serious fucking issues when people are buying computers and downgrading the operating system.
Yeah.
You know that, right? If people are buying Windows 8 machines and then downgrading to Windows 7, you're bound to know that you have a shit product. You know?
Yeah. But I've got it next to me anyway, this desktop machine that's got Windows 8 on it. So I might fire it up and give it a crack.
Yeah, take a look, see what you think.
Because it's actually this machine is better than anything I've got processor-wise. It's only an i3, but it's a new i3. I think it might even be a 4th generation i3. So it's going to kick the ass of anything I've got.
So next week you'll come on and you'll be like, that's it, fuck Linux. Windows 8, man.
Yeah.
Windows 8 is the bomb.
Yeah, that's it. Windows 8 for life. I fucking don't think so somehow.
Yeah.
But I bet Linux is going to fly on it, man. I'm going to check that out. I bet it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, probably so. All right, let's move on to our next topic, our next news story, which is basically the main news headlines on every tech page this week because Apple had its big announcements yesterday. So Apple has released a bunch of new products, new iPads, new MacBooks, new software. Now, I know at the beginning of the show we talked a little bit about Mavericks, so we won't go there again. But I think we should certainly talk about the new iPads. So let's start with the upgraded iPad mini. So Apple released a brand new iPad mini, which physically looks just like the old iPad mini, except it has the new A7 chip, which is a 64-bit architecture, a desktop class onboard chip, and now it has Retina display. Which gives 2048 pixels by 1536 pixels. So it's a very high resolution display.
Still 4x3 then?
Yeah. Still, it's exactly the same as it was before, just with a much higher resolution display, faster processor, and it comes with the new Wi-Fi, the 802.11ac.
All right.
So all in all, a very nice machine. The only negative with the old machine was the display. But now with this new display, I don't see any negatives at all, except maybe the price.
Yeah, except the ridiculous price.
Yeah.
But one big positive is they announced it now, and it says availability November. So 2-3 weeks, probably. Yeah,
they're saying, I think, November... sometime in November it'll be out. Now they are going to keep the existing iPad mini for $299. So the current version of the iPad mini, the 16 gig version, will sell for $299, and then $399 for the new iPad mini with Retina display. And
but how much is a new Nexus 7, the 2013?
Was it $260 or something? I think.
So cheaper than the old shit iPad mini.
Old, yeah. I wouldn't have said shit, but old, yeah. Yeah.
The older, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a couple of bucks cheaper, but for the 16 gig, yeah. So $299 for the 16 gig standard iPad mini, then $399 for the 16 gig brand new Retina display iPad mini, and then it goes up from there with different memory sizes and so on and so forth.
Jesus Christ! So $700 for 128 gigabyte version, and add $130 for LTE models.
Right. Yeah.
Cellular.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, man, that's like $830.
Yeah. So they also released a brand new iPad, which they're calling the iPad Air. which they're...
That was a stupid fucking name, man.
No, I disagree. I think it's marketing genius. I think it's awesome. I think it's a wonderful name.
It's just a horrible mishmash of the iPad and the MacBook Air. It just doesn't work for me.
Of course it is. So what they've done here is they've kept the screen size of the original iPad or the iPad 4, so it has the exact same screen size, a 9.7-inch display, but they've trimmed the bezel significantly so it looks more like the iPad Mini, and they've made it significantly thinner and lighter, but retaining the 10-hour battery life. So if I were going to buy a new iPad, I would buy the iPad Air.
Not the Mini, then?
Not the Mini. Now, until the iPad Air had come out, I would have bought the Mini. But I really like the look of this iPad Air. So this one, it weighs 1 pound. It has the same screen as the old iPad, the Retina display, high-resolution display. It's got the A7 chip, 64-bit architecture, desktop-class chip. And it's the Wi-Fi, the AC Wi-Fi, and this starts at $499 for Wi-Fi only, 16 gig. So it's $100 more for the base model of the new iPad Air, and then it goes up from there. Now, if you get the full all singing, all dancing, 128 gig. Wi-Fi and LTE 4G, you're talking close to $1,000.
And that's what, about 50 quid? That's a lot of money. That's
for the whole thing, for like the whole everything,
Jesus
like the 128
Christ.
gig storage, 4G cellular. You're talking, I think it comes out to like $900 and something for the all singing, all dancing, top of the line iPad Air.
That is just madness. Anyone who spends that has got more money than sense, man.
So yeah, it is. It's the same with all Apple products. The only negative is the price. Other than that, it's fucking positive all the way.
And the freedom thing.
Well, come on, dude. Yes, being serious. Not pilots.
Well, then again, Android isn't very free anyway.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, that is very expensive. So those were the two main products that they released, and the iPad Air is going to be released on November 1st. The iPad Mini, they've just said it'll be available the month of November, not a specific date. They also refreshed the MacBook Pro line. I
heard that not as expected, though.
Well, no, it's a little different. The MacBook Pro 13-inch, both the MacBook Pro 15-inch and 13-inch, they have lowered the price significantly, but upped the specs. So these two machines both have the latest and greatest Intel Haswell processors, i5 and i7 processors. The MacBook Pro 13-inch has changed significantly. In other words, it's significantly thinner than the previous MacBook Pro. Obviously, it comes with a Retina display, high-resolution display, and they've lowered the price to $1299 for the base model, and that comes with 128 gigs of solid-state memory and 2.4 gigahertz Intel Core i5 Haswell processor. So they knocked $200 off that from the other price for the Retina Mac. And they have discontinued the MacBook Pros with DVD drives. So the MacBook Pro I have, which comes with a DVD drive on it, they're no longer making that. They're only making Retina display MacBook Pros now.
So you can't get a Mac laptop with an optical drive?
No. Not anymore.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
So the MacBook Pro 15-inch also is a Retina display, 8 hours of battery life. Actually, 9 hours of battery life on the 13-inch, 8 hours on the 15-inch. Both upgraded with the Haswell processors. They lowered the price of the Retina to $1,999, and that comes with 256 gig solid state memory and two 2 gigahertz Intel Core i7 Haswell processor. Those are the base models. Now, obviously, you can upgrade from there and go up to, 3.8 quad core, whatever the fuck. And those two are available next Tuesday, so you could go purchase those.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, they also lowered the price of the MacBook Air also. So the MacBook Air, the 13-inch now is like $1,100, and still the base 11-inch is $999. That's the cheapest laptop Apple produces, $999 for the 11-inch MacBook Air. The other main hardware that they announced is the Mac Pro, which will be released in December. They haven't released an exact date, but it'll be in December. But they did release prices for
only $11 million. That's pretty cheap.
for the Mac Pro, and the base model of the Mac Pro is $2,999.
$3,000.
Yeah, and that's for a quad core Intel Xeon processor, 3.7 gigahertz quad core Xeon processor.
Well, only one processor.
Yeah, quad core. And that one is it comes with 2.7 gigahertz quad core Intel Xeon E5 processor, 12 gigs of DDR3 memory, and a 256 gig flash storage drive.
Jesus Christ, I could build that for half that, man.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think you could.
I bet you could.
Half?
That maybe 2,000.
No.
What about graphics-wise?
Graphics-wise, it comes with dual AMD FirePro D300 graphics cards with 2 gigs of DDR5 VRAM on each card.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's going to bump the price up a bit, but still, 3,000 for that is.
If you were to build one of these and spec for spec, make it exactly the same as the Mac Pro, would you get it cheaper than $2,999? Yes. Would it be significantly cheaper? No.
I don't know about that. I'll have to research it. One of the things is that the Mac Pros always come with EEC, error correction memory, rather than like sort of server memory rather than traditional desktop memory.
Right.
RAM. And that RAM is always a lot more expensive. So, but still, that seems an awful lot of money to me for.
No, it is. No, I agree. It's crazy expensive. But I still, if you were to spec for spec, build it yourself, and get the exact same components to build it yourself, you probably would get it cheaper, but not by much. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be night and day. Not even close.
But what's interesting, I mean, I talk about the Ubuntu thing quite a lot, and how Shuttleworth likes to announce things years before they're even ready, and even then they become ready and they just don't work and they're shit. Whereas, generally speaking, Apple, and especially in Jobs' day, will announce this big thing like iPhone, and it does this and it does that. And people are like, oh, when's it available? 3 weeks. And so it's actually on its way to the shops as they announce it, right?
Yeah.
But this Mac Pro, they announced that months ago, seemingly. Or
no, they didn't. It wasn't an announcement when they revealed it in, I think it was June at the Worldwide Developers Conference. They said, we're going to give you a sneak peek, and they said this will be out this year.
But December, if that slips, then that's very telling.
If it moves to January or February, then yeah, you're right. But they've said it'll be out in 2013, and as long as they ship one computer before December 31st, then they're honoring what they said.
Can you imagine the New Year party of that neckbeard?
Right, yeah.
If they're running benchmarks on it at the stroke of midnight.
Yeah, but apparently these things are ridiculously fast. Like,
oh, it would be. I mean, anything with that kind of hardware is going to be fast, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I personally think that the Xeons are a waste of money for desktop computing, because from what I can see, I mean, someone will probably correct me on this, but the advantage of a Xeon over an i7 is more the sort of virtualization stuff, which obviously if you're running a server that's got loads of VMs running on it, then you have sort of hardware acceleration for that. Whereas if you're only running, say, video editing or audio stuff or media stuff, or the kind of stuff that most people do with the Mac Pro, you may as well just do it with the high-end i7 rather than pay the extra for a Xeon.
Well, I mean, who's the target market for this machine? It's not for Joe Blow sending emails, right?
No, it's for people running music studios, video editing.
Right. People doing massive video editing, rendering.
Yeah, 3D rendering.
3D rendering.
But I honestly don't think that the Xeons have any advantage over the i7s, or at least they didn't in previous generations. Maybe I'm wrong now, but it just seems to me that you're paying more for basically server capabilities in a desktop machine, which is just
I don't know. I can't speak one way or the other, but it's interesting. I just pulled up the page right here, and you click on the tech specs for the Mac Pro, and it gives you the price for the quad core and because there's a 6-core version you can get also with 3.5 gigahertz 6-core Xeon E5, and that's for $399. And you go here and it says, what's in the box? So if you purchase a Mac Pro, here's what comes in this really cool looking box for the Mac Pro. So you open it up and in there is the Mac Pro and a power cord.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
No, they don't even chuck in a fucking Ethernet lead.
Nothing. Just you just get the Mac Pro and a power cord. The monitor, keyboard, mouse, all that shit is sold separately.
Yeah, the mouse is probably going to be $100.
Well, I mean, it's all USB, so you can use any mouse, any keyboard, any monitor. Come to think of it,
I presume it's got HDMI as well as Thunderbolt.
Yeah, it's got 6 Thunderbolt 2 ports, 4 USB 3 ports, and a HDMI 2 port, which
supports... Has it got VGA?
no VGA. And it's got dual gigabit Ethernet ports on the back. So it's very forward-looking. It reminds me of when everyone was all on about like SCSI, and SCSI was the bomb, and then Apple released the Power Mac back then, the Power Mac with FireWire and USB, and they were like, "Well, where's the fucking SCSI port? What the fuck? Wait, how am I going to use my SCSI shit with this? Oh, it's crap. It's garbage. Fucking FireWire, USB. What's that shit? Give me a fucking SCSI port."
Well, speaking of legacy, this desktop machine that I bought, I told my friend to buy, and I've now got to set up.
Yeah.
It came with a keyboard and mouse, and so I opened the box just before we started the show.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? It comes with a PS2 mouse and keyboard.
What?
You know what PS2 is?
Yeah, the old, that's fucking...
It's like analog pre-USB.
Yeah.
Like the round one.
Suddenly it's 1994 again, yeah.
Yeah. It's got, this machine's got USB 3 ports. It's got at least a couple of USB 3 ports.
That's weird.
As well as obviously loads of... It's weird that it comes with... I just can't understand why they would do that.
That is pretty strange.
Very strange.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's got a keyboard and mouse anyway, so it's no problem.
So there's the Mac Pro. So that's pretty, and obviously the software stuff we talked about at the beginning of the show. But that's what they released or announced and released this week.
So the most important thing is then, are you going to get any of this new hardware?
I would love to get it all, but
love to add to your is it 13?
Unfortunately,
Apple
I don't have. I was thinking about that. The other week when I listed all my Apple shit that I have.
Yeah.
It really made me think that I went out and bought all that stuff yesterday. Whereas that stuff has been accumulating over years. It's not like I just went out and bought that shit. Like, I need... get me 2 iMacs. 3. No, this is stuff that I've bought over years and years,
I think the Mindset listeners should all chip in and get Joe Dunn one of these new Mac Pros.
Fuck yeah, dude. He needs one badly.
Yeah. Like, I saw you were talking about the new version of iOS 10, and he's just sort of sad face. Doesn't run on my ancient G5.
I mean, Joe Dunn is he's a Mac guy through and through. He's only used Macs. He would never use a PC. Never. If you were to send him a brand new PC right now, he wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. He's Mac through and through. And he has a Mac Pro right now. He has one of the old towers and a big ass monitor. But he's had it for years. And it's so old that he can't upgrade to the latest version. He's still stuck on Leopard.
Well, yeah, the last one that supported the PowerPC.
PowerPC, yeah. So he's stuck on Leopard, and admittedly, with the high end PowerPC that he has, and running Leopard, he can accomplish 95% of the shit that he needs to accomplish. But he purchased an iPhone 5. And he can't even sync the iPhone 5 with the computer, dude, because it's so old.
Fuck, so what does he do?
Well, he has to do it all through Wi-Fi, Because, with the new iPhones, you don't need a computer to sync to shit. But you can't even, it won't even connect to it. You won't even plug it in because...
because you need the latest version of iTunes, and that isn't supported on the PowerPC.
Exactly. So it kind of blows. But...
let's all chip together and get me this $3,000.
Yes. I'm gonna max it out too, because if you went to the it's not available now, but when they start selling these, you can go through and customize it.
Yeah, it'd be like 10,000 by the time you got
if you go and add all the stuff, like max out the memory, put a terabyte SSD in there, all that shit, you're talking 10, maybe 15 grand. That's a fucking car.
Yeah,
that's a new car right there.
Fuck that! You've just made me realise that even the base model of this is worth way more than my car. Thanks for that.
But it's a great machine. I'd love to get one, but it ain't gonna happen.
I'd love to get one, and what would I do with it?
Put Linux on it.
Fuck yeah!
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I honestly would do it.
I don't know. I mean, I might put it on in a virtual machine or something, but wiping the OS and putting Linux on it, that's nuts.
Bare metal.
I mean, you talk about money to burn, and you do something stupid like that.
Yeah, I'd probably install OpenBox on it as well. Make it just ridiculously lean.
Yeah. You're like, oh man, I got OpenBox on it. Oh, fire it up. What applications can you put on there to show me how it works? Here's Firefox. Here, let me show you how I send email with.
Watch me edit this audio on this sweet looking Audacity.
Yes, I know.
And don't worry, it crashes every few minutes, but it auto saves. It's fine.
Let me show you Skype. Look at this. Woohoo! Takes you
Shut
back.
Up. They don't need to know that it crashes over so often and we have to edit.
It's like, hey, it takes you back. Look, it's suddenly 2002.
Should we wrap up the news with some something that's close to my heart and close to your heart? Then.
All right, let's do it.
And that is that Linus Torvalds has said that Apple's free OS is no threat to Linux at all.
This is kind of a non-story in a way.
Well, it is a bit of it. They just asked him some questions and then made a story out of it.
Yeah.
And it's him just saying, well, of course, the fact that Mavericks is free, as in beer, cha-ching. I get accused of saying that every episode. I haven't said that I don't own a television or GNU/Linux yet, but now I have. So cha-ching, cha-ching. The fact that it is free, as in no cost, it has nothing to do with Linux. Obviously, most Linux distros are free to download. And people have been used to that for the last 20-odd years.
Right.
But as Torvalds pointed out when he was asked about it, this is just ridiculous because you need the Mac hardware. There's no threat to Linux from them being free.
No, not even close. Now,
if anything, the reason that it's free is because 8.1 is free. If Windows 8.1 is free, if you're a Windows 8 user, you get the Windows 8.1 as a free upgrade. So that's probably what's prompted this to be rather than a nominal fee of $20.
No, that's nonsense, dude.
No, that's fact.
No,
that is true fact.
Nonsense. I mean, the only way this would really affect, or maybe even severely fuck with Linux, would be if they said, okay, OS X is now free and it's available on all PC hardware.
Yeah, of course. Then it
might be game over for Linux.
But there's no way they could do that. They couldn't.
No, of course not. That would never, ever happen.
Well, unless they worked with hardware manufacturers, component manufacturers, the people who make the likes of Belkin and who make wireless cards and network hardware.
It would never happen. There's no way that would happen. But if
they didn't they talk about it in the was it the mid-90s? They talked about possibly licensing OS 10.
No, that was OS 9. That was back in the old days of System 8, System 9 before they switched to a Unix variant when it was.
And they ummed and ahed and almost did it. And
no, they did. They did. They licensed it out to certain companies when it was PowerPC. Oh. And when Steve Jobs went back to Apple, the first thing he did was okay, that's it, no more of that shit.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck that. It's Apple software runs on Apple devices. That's all there is to it. End of fucking story. So all these companies that had invested all this time, energy, and money into making their clones and having Mac OS running on it, they're done. They stopped that in a fucking heartbeat. But I mean, releasing OS 10 that way, it would never ever happen. But if it did happen, if they did release it, if Apple stopped being a hardware company and became purely software and just released software that could run on any PC hardware, I think Microsoft and Linux would be in some deep shit.
Possibly. It depends on the cost of it. If you could freely or for a nominal fee, say 10, 20 quid, $20, whatever, install OS 10 on any hardware and you could have driver support and get it running, then Windows would be fucked. It would disappear pretty much. Apart from hardcore gamers, because there are very few applications that will run won't run on OS 10 that will run on Windows. I think you still have your hardcore Linux people, but I think the Windows would just go away.
It'd be done. Yeah, it'd be finished.
It would become a minority. There'd be a few fanboys and a few gamers. Although with this Steam OS and Steam boxes and Steam on Linux coming along, and obviously games generally on Mac OS.
Right.
Yeah, I think that Windows would...
it would destroy Windows and possibly Microsoft. And while it might not wipe out Linux, it would...
it definitely wouldn't wipe out.
It would severely fuck with it.
Well, not really, because the market share of Linux is so minimal anyway.
And it would get smaller.
Marginally.
It wouldn't go away, but it would definitely... There would be issues.
I suppose you're right. I think there are a lot of people who reluctantly use Linux because Windows is so terrible and they can't afford to buy a Mac. Yeah. Whereas if they knew they could go and buy a 300 quid laptop and install OS 10 and it would work properly without having bullshit Hackintosh and having to fuck with things and not do updates and having to worry every time they do updates. But if it was a properly officially supported thing with drivers that worked and et cetera, then I think you're probably right. The Linux market share would shrink slightly.
No, a lot.
Yeah, but
it wouldn't go away, but it would be a definite kick in the balls, big time.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely fuck Windows off permanently because I could use OS 10 for my music stuff and my proprietary software.
Right.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about them becoming this is completely hypothetical nonsense because they don't make any money out of software. The software is a lost leader for them. Well, it's like supermarkets selling bread for 10 pence just to get you in the door.
Exactly, and that's the main thing. Is like when you're in the PC world, you live in the Windows world. Hardware is very cheap. Software is very expensive. Whereas in the Mac world, the reverse is true. Hardware is expensive. Software is cheap.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way that Apple make their money is hardware and media.
Right.
They want to sell you the hardware that runs their software that is now free of cost. And iOS has always been free of cost, obviously. For all the updates, if you've got a supported device, they've always been free.
Yeah.
And so they want, and iTunes has always been free. They want you to use their stuff so that then they can sell you overpriced hardware and then media. It started with the music, now it's TV and movies.
Yeah.
And that's their business model. So although it's an interesting discussion to talk about them selling or giving away their software.
It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. There's more chance of them and Microsoft both open sourcing their operating system. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, there's no way. It'll never happen. But it's fun to play the speculation game. But it ain't going to happen.
But also interesting in this article is that Torvald said he's got no plans to retire anytime soon, and even if he did retire, it wouldn't affect the Linux kernel. Because he said he's always saying, like, if I get hit by a bus, it's not really going to affect anything. Although he's the figurehead and he's running the Linux thing, it's the structure of it is such that it will continue with long after he is gone.
It'll keep going. All right, that's the news. How about some feedback? All right, Joe, what do we got as far as feedback this week?
Not a huge amount of feedback, but what we did get was really interesting. On the website comments, someone called themselves Tootie said, I'm an expat in China. Presumably by that expat, he means that he's from the UK.
Right.
I don't suppose anyone else says expat. He says, the Chinese social media app that you're thinking of is called QQ, which to me just means crying. I don't know if you've ever aware of that. Like people say, gamers say, less QQ, more pew pew.
Pew pew.
Anyway, is that the Chinese don't use Facebook because the government here blocks it. They want total control of all media, as is typical of fascist governments, which America is becoming more like, similar to Germany of the 30s and 40s. I forewarned my friends of such 40 years ago, but that's another story, isn't it? So he's immediately fallen foul of Godwin's law there, talking about the Nazis. He continues, they do that so they can monitor every PC and have total control of them if they want. They also target adverts. Isn't it lovely to have those damned adverts popping up whenever? I, some time back, heard that an American game manufacturer was anticipating using QQ as an in-game communication program. Let's hope to hell they don't, for if they do, the Chinese government will have total control of everyone's computer. No shit, no conspiracy. Fact. Don't know about that.
Fact. I've noticed a lot of Brits say that.
Fact.
Fact. Have you noticed that? They say that? They would say, like, yeah, and he told me this, and that was da-da-da-da. Fact.
Don't Americans say that then?
No.
Fair enough. Anyway, he says, also, I'm presuming it's a he, by the way.
Yeah.
Could be a she.
Could be.
They continue. Also, Tor is banned here too. They know all of the server IPs and block them. All comm channels go through their servers. Think man-in-the-middle exploits. The whole country here is in that situation. Currently, many of the people use VPNs to access many off-limits sites, but they only do it at the good graces of the local government. Rumour had it, and I don't disbelieve it, that they will soon block VPNs too. We used to get the New York Times online, but after the paper wrote an article about the leader's mother's money and power issues, just like a spoiled brat who's not happy and took his toys and went home, they, the government, have subsequently blocked the site.
Jeez.
99% of out of the country social media, Dropbox-like media, blogs, etc., are blocked. They use keyword blocking indiscriminately too. Any website with WordPress, Blogspot, Feeds, FeedBurner, and many more are blocked regardless if they speak out against the current regime or not. These sites may have storage abilities that local nationals could use to clandestinely communicate without discovery are also blocked. They have your nuts in a vice. It's just a question of how hard they want to squeeze them.
Now, this brings up some interesting points. I mean, this is something that we've always, heard about and suspected that's going on in China. But to hear it from somebody who says that they live there, it really does hammer it home by how in your face the surveillance and blocking is. It's interesting, though, if they block all WordPress, Blogspot, feeds, FeedBurner, and how's he listening to the MindTech podcast?
Exactly. That's what I was wondering. Like, I'm thinking, is this bullshit then? Because either he's some elite hacker who's managed to subvert loads of shit, or he's bullshitting, or she, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, surely we would be blocked. Unless we're just so unimportant.
Unless he's using like a VPN or something to access outside of China, and then just download the MP3 that way. That's possible.
Yeah.
But it's great feedback, though. Some great stuff. And 2D, thank you so much. Very cool.
Yeah, and what really is interesting about that is that we are constantly going on about living in the totalitarian state formerly known as the UK and all that. But it kind of makes you think, doesn't it, that, like, yeah, we do have it bad here, but it could be worse, couldn't it? It could be a fucking lot worse.
Well, it could be, but the difference is it's a bit like the overt and covert dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. It's just like in these countries where you have a clear dictator, or it clearly is a totalitarian regime, the people that live there, they're under no illusions. They know they're fucked. They know they're oppressed. They know there's severe bullshit going on. And you'll find that those kind of states have a kind of finite life. It might last 10 years, might last 100 years, but eventually it will end because people can only take so much, and after a while they'll be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Whereas a covert dictatorship, a covert totalitarian regime can last indefinitely because the people think they're free.
But the question is, did China just overnight? I mean, I know various things about Chinese history and stuff, but history's a bit patchy for me, I'm afraid. But did they just decide overnight that they were doing this, or did they do the totalitarian tiptoe?
Well, they became a communist. I mean, they became a communist state. When did they become communist? In like what, the
60s,
the 50s or 60s or something? And from that moment on, it's game on. They're under no illusions.
I suppose. And the thing is that is the example. That and North Korea are what we don't want to turn into, and that sort of the point of doing shows like we do.
Yeah. Keep the flame alive.
Yeah. But that's very interesting to hear from someone from China. It's
cool. Very cool. Very cool indeed.
Or someone living there at least. But yeah, another one, Rob McKenzie, usual suspect, said the day Google start asking for my phone number or government recognized ID, they're dropped just like Facebook.
Yeah. Well, Rob was on the Mindset group on Facebook for a while, and he bailed. He was like, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Yeah, this was on Twitter that I did notice he disappeared one day. He used to be very active and participate in discussions and stuff. And now he's kind of only on Twitter and Google Plus. So
I mean that's what I'd love to do. I would love to cut the shackles of Facebook and get out of there and just dump it because I fucking hate it.
Well, I hate it, and without wanting to reveal too much, there's I've got a new show in the pipeline, and the person that I'm doing that show with, who may be familiar to listeners if they're hardcore enough, he doesn't use Facebook, and I barely use Facebook. But the bottom line is that you kind of have to use Facebook to promote yourself, don't you?
Yeah, that's the the deal with the devil. You in order to get your word out there, you have to use it. I'd love to bail. I'd love to say, fuck you, Facebook, I'm out of here. But I can't. I've kind of painted myself in a corner.
I mean, like I was going on about last week, I defy anyone to tell me that Facebook isn't shit. It might be ubiquitous and everyone might be on there, but apart from that, what else does it have going for it? The thing is shit compared to all the other possible social networks and everything. I just wish it had never been invented.
Too late. Okay, well, I think that kind of wraps it up for this week, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can reach us at mindsetcentral@gmail.com, Google+, Facebook, BitMessage, and we'll be back next week. But until then, farewell, good brothers.
See you later.